Quotation from myself, segment 9. Quotation number 116. We dislike certain people not so much for what they as individuals are, but for the particular way and philosophy of life they epitomize. The one which is so contrary to ours, then it undermines our self-esteem and confronts us with very unsettling and sometimes potentially devastating questions like, what if they are right and I am wrong? Or, what if my whole life has been one big mistake? It is no wonder that we dislike or even hate such people, since they seem by their very existence to threaten our peace of mind, validity of our beliefs, and purpose of our lives. By the same token, we like certain people not necessarily for what they are as individuals, but for the particular way of living and thinking they symbolize, the one we perceive as similar to ours, and thus justifying what we are and what we do, and the process making us feel secure and satisfied with our own lives. Number 117. One's prosperity is usually derived from others, but one's survival depends to a large extent on self-sufficiency. Number 118. We are the most vulnerable when seeking love and approval of others, because nothing in life is as uncertain and unpredictable as someone body's else feeling and judgment. In some, this need for love and approval of others permeates their whole existence. As a result, such individuals are seldom, if ever, happy. They live in a state of perpetual fear of doing or saying something which might make them unloved or ill-spoken of. On the top of that, their continual quest for love and approval of others make those others very uncomfortable under this constant pressure to show love and approval. Naturally, very often they react in a manner quite the opposite to which has been sought, bringing the individual longing for love and approval an additional and unnecessary unhappiness instead. Number 119. Before there was a right time for everything under the sun. Now there is everything all the time, but there is no time for anything. Number 120. One of the psychologically important functions of a religion has to do with the way we see ourselves. We know more or less what we are, either consciously or intuitively. We also know with some degree of certainty what we ought or would like to be, and religion, especially of the moralistic type like Judaism, Christianity, or Islam, gives us, if only for a short period of time, the opportunity to realize it. Religion, in this case, providing both a script and a stage, functions as a theater in which we are allowed and even forced to play a part ourselves, not as we really are, but as we ought or would like to be. It let us, for a while, pretend to be faithful, though we are treacherous, generous, though we are greedy, kind though we are cruel, etc. It makes us love and respect ourselves, at least for a duration of the performance, and maybe even a little bit longer, which is absolutely essential for our psychological well-being. Number 121. The majority of us spend our entire lives as if walking in uncomfortable shoes. The shoes are either chosen by, or most likely for us, at the beginning of life journey. Almost immediately they don't feel right, but we are told to be patient and are assured that eventually we'll get used to and even like them. However, sooner or later, most of us begin to realize that these shoes would never fit, and we try to exchange them for another more comfortable pair. Then, to our dismay, we make another discovery. We can't take them off. They have become part of our body, and we will have to wear them uncomfortable, and we will have to wear these uncomfortable, even painful shoes for the rest of our lives. Number 122. No matter how cute a woman's ass is, it doesn't give her an automatic right to position it permanently over a man's head. Number 123. The life of a man is like his body, for both are made of two inseparable substances, the body of flesh and skeleton, the life of deeds and purposes. As the skeleton gives support and shape to the body, so the purpose gives form and meaning to life. Break up the skeleton, and the flesh will collapse, deprived of his frame. Destroy man's goal and purpose, and he would lose the ability to act, for his life lost its structure. On the other hand, as the muscles keep the skeleton together, preventing him from falling apart, so the deeds of man sustain the purpose of life, preventing it from disintegration. Thus, there is a symbiotic relationship between the deeds and purpose in life, as between the flesh and skeleton, for one cannot exist without the other. Number 124. The Western philosophy is greatly indebted to Xantippe, the shrewish wife of Socrates, for it is in order to defend himself from her incessant demands for material things, food, clothes, money, etc., that Socrates developed the notion of primacy of spiritual over the material. He also, in order to escape the constant harassment by his wife, who evidently treated this notion as another example of a loafer, as another excuse of a loafer, had to spend a great deal of time on the street of Athens. There, having nothing else to do, he would engage anybody who was willing to talk into conversations, and while doing it, use successfully the argumentative skill he had developed in quarrels with his wife. And as if trying to compensate for numerous defeats on the domestic front, he would put all his energy and passion into discussion, bent on winning every argument this time. Number 125. Let's call the process in which the needs that are not sexual in nature are being sublimated into sexual ones because of the objective impossibility or the subjective inability of a person to fulfill the former, the reverse sublimation. The process of sublimation always proceeds in the direction of least resistance. In the Victorian age, in which Freud lived and used as a paradigm for his idea of sublimation, the sexual desires were much more difficult to satisfy than the intellectual ones. Hence the direction of sublimation was from sexual to intellectual. In the modern times, the reverse phenomena has taken place. For whatever reasons, it is the subject of somewhat different discussion. The intellectual aspirations are more difficult to fulfill than the sexual ones, and sublimation consequently proceeded as always in direction of the least resistance. Only this time it was in the direction of sexual fulfillment. Now, if we substitute the notion intellect by spirit and sex by body, we can see the same old familiar pair, body and spirit, in its unending dialectical struggle, when the opposites constantly changing their places depending on prevailing conditions in society at any given moment, always sublimating into each other. Number 126. Like docile sheep, we are led to the slaughterhouse by the egomaniacs. Number 127. Multiformity of reality overwhelms the weak mind, forcing it to adopt the simplistic and thus inevitably prejudicial view of the world. Number 128. Intellectual honesty and logical thinking are absolutely necessary and sometimes even sufficient precondition for finding the truth. Number 129. Members of a persecuted group often feel less animosity toward their oppressors than toward those in the group who try to avoid persecution. In a strange and perverse sense, the injustice committed against them as a group is perceived as a lesser evil than the one resulted from unequal treatment of those who has managed to escape it. Such seemingly paradoxical phenomena is a result of what can be called socio-psychological induction, when repetition both produces and is viewed as validations. Thus, in the same way as lie repeated many times begins to be accepted as truth, so the injustice inflicted repeatedly about many became the norm, and those few who try to escape it are looked at by the rest as deviants or traitors.